Today is the last day on our pilgrimage. We have been through the footsteps of St. Paul. We have moved in many different parts from Istanbul, Turkey, over here to Greece, Patmos Island, and moved all over the place. What have we learned in these footsteps of St. Paul? He did 3 missionary journeys. And the Thessalonica, where we are now, is in his 3rd missionary journey, where he crossed here, which was his crossing into Europe, and the first crossing into Europe. And from that, we know the whole of Europe became Christian after that. I'm standing in front of Alexander the Great, who lived 300 years before Christ. He was a student of Aristotle, and Aristotle taught Alexander there was only one God. And Alexander sought to have the whole of the world that he knew become Greek world. And the Greeks then were everywhere and conquered everything under Aristotle. Then the Romans came in after them. And we know the stories with the Romans and in Jerusalem and Israel and the tensions there. The Christians come, the Romans are persecuting the Christians. The Christians then have to leave Jerusalem and spread elsewhere, so that the message, because of the persecution, the message went far and wide. Paul comes and he makes all of his missionary journeys. 300 years later, after lots of persecution, King Constance, the emperor, he then moved the empire to Constantinople. And Constantinople then, which is Istanbul today, which is Turkey. I want you to see how in the movement of history, God is at work in everything, no matter what. Now, this part of the world today is Orthodox. How did that happen? Istanbul is mainly Muslim. How did that happen? Well, that's part of the drama that we are dealing with. And in this drama, we have history moving. Now, I want you to hear 2 things that are interesting to me. First, all the churches of Asia Minor that the early apostles founded, that John had a vision of in the book of Revelations, they are all now in the Muslim part of the world. In Istanbul, in Turkey, in the Islamic part of the world. The second thing is that the rest of the churches by Paul are all in the Orthodox part of the world. Isn't that interesting? Now, in 1054, the 2 churches, or the church separated, and the eastern part of the church became the Orthodox Church, and the western part became the Catholic Church. How did that happen? Because of a controversy that happened where the Holy Father introduced and the Son into the doxology. And the Spirit comes through the Father and through the Son. And the Emperor, or the Patriarch of Constantinople, objected to that. Well, today the 2 churches are moving together. Pope Francis wrote a wonderful document, the Bishop of Rome, which really takes 40 years of dialogue with the Orthodox and brings it into a movement and a gesture to harmony. The churches are moving together. We have to understand, as Catholic Church, we believe in the supremacy of the Pope, the Holy Father, together with the College of Bishops, synodality. God has been working through history, and whether we understand it or don't, whether we think we're in a good time of history or a bad time of history, what we need to know, God is always working in history. And things are unfolding that we could never understand in ways that we will not know now, but we must always have faith in God. Paul got great opposition. He continued to proclaim the good news of Jesus Christ. We are living in a time of opposition to the gospel. We too must continue to proclaim the good news of Jesus Christ. I'm happy that you followed our pilgrimage with us, our footsteps of St. Paul, and now I invite you to go and read in Acts of the Apostles and read from Philippi, from Thessalonians, read the books, that we can get a better understanding of this early church, but of what God does through history. God bless you.